Has your boss ever told you you need to channel your anger? Or everything is gonna be downhill from here? If you've ever been looking to express your emotions and complex ideas in English in very creative, laconic words and avoid being verbose, the answer is using expression and idioms, which are used broadly in English as well as other languages, which definitely add charm and color to your speech. Hi everyone! If you don't already know, this is Sahar with English Luminaries, and in this video, I'm gonna share with you 15 common English idioms and expressions which you can normally use at work and everyday conversation to improve your overall fluency. Let's dive in. Here is our first expression: to go out on a limb. To go out on a limb simply means having an opinion which is different from most people's and might be unpopular or criticized. For example, I'll go out on a limb and I would suggest that this idea might be liked by a lot of clients.
I go out on a limb for you. You're proven guilty, I look like an asshole.
I go out on a limb and say, yeah.
Would you like to go out on a limb, sign them in, keep them overnight?
The second one in the list is method to my madness. Strange and crazy actions that appear meaningless, but in the end are done for a good reason. Yeah, I know, I made a big mess, but there is a method to my madness.
I'm gonna show you the method to my madness.
Okay.
Ted, there's a method to my madness.
Here is the next one. To fall or slip through the cracks. If something falls or slips through the cracks, it is not noticed or dealt with by the system. For example, it is easy for problems to slip through when there is no clear regulator at the top.
We work in a system where old people tend to sometimes fall through the cracks.
You know, I can't believe the school system didn't know about this guy's record. I mean, that's pretty scary. How can something like that just slip through the cracks?
I don't know. I mean,
You see, if you slip through the cracks and stay on Earth after you die, your soul rots.
Let's move on to the fourth one. Saved by the bell. Saved by the bell is now used when a last-minute intervention saves you from a catastrophe or what feels like a catastrophe. This phrase originates from the fear of being buried alive. For example, at the meeting today, I couldn't put off explaining his absence any longer, but he arrived finally and I was saved by the bell.
Saved by the bell.
Fighter cannot be saved by the bell.
Saved by the bell, huh?
You cannot be saved by the bell in the 12th and final round.
Here is our number 5. To rip off the BandAid. To rip off the BandAid means to perform a painful and unpleasant but necessary actions quickly so as to minimize the pain and fear associated with it. For example, try to be straightforward and rip off the BandAid. He needs to know he has to face the reality.
You can just go ahead and rip off the Band-Aid.
Sometimes you gotta just rip off the Band-Aid and let the scab bleed all over the place.
Trust me, with women, it's always better to rip off the Band-Aid.
Here is our number 6. To come out of left field. If something comes out of left field, it is totally unexpected and often unusual. Her comment came out of left field.
We're coming out of left field to take Colorado before they figure out which hole they got screwed in.
I know this is coming out of left field, but would you like to go on a date sometime?
This is gonna seem like it's coming out of left field, but in addition to being a recovering alcoholic, I'm also a member of SA.
And here is the 7th one. To wallow in self-pity. It means to remain in an unhappy emotional state as if you are enjoying that and you're trying to get the sympathy of the others. For example, I wish she'd do something to help herself instead of wallowing in self-pity.
It would be easy to wallow in self-pity.
If you want to wallow in self-pity and do nothing, then you're going to watch the same thing, you understand?
I'm not gonna wallow in self-pity. Right after work.
Here is our 8th one. To be etched on memory or in mind. If something is etched on your memory, it is like that you remember it vividly and clearly, just because it has some importance for you. Here is a good example. His grief is etched into every line of his face.
And only zealous men who stand steadfast in the face of the enemy will be etched in German memory forever.
This night will be etched in the memories of all in attendance.
By doing so, the horror of Psycho will be indelibly etched in the mind and heart of your audience.
Now we are right at the middle of our video. Let's have a quiz to see how you're doing and how many of them you already remember. Too many young people have been neglected and ignored in the healthcare system. I know it will hurt. Just take the pain and get it over with. Your word of wisdom has imprinted vividly on my mind, and I'm not gonna forget it forever. Okay, let me know down in the comment how you found yourself. Let's move on to number 9 in our list, par for the course. If a type of behavior, event, or situation is par for the course, it is not good, but it is normal and as you would expect it. For example, edgy humor is totally repugnant, but it's par for the course.
Butting heads with House is par for the course.
It's par for the course, Will Robinson.
No, actually, The Voice has averaged 3 1/4 theater reviews since issue 1, so it's par for the course.
Here is our 10th one in a list. To take something at face value. If you take something at face value, you accept it and believe it without thinking about it that much, even though it might be untrue. For example, I took their offer at face value and I didn't even think they might trick me.
We cannot afford to take mythology at face value.
Please, let's take John's story at face value and explore it from that perspective.
And this is number 11. To shelf the idea, discussion, conversation, plan, or something. To decide not to continue a plan, either for a short time or permanently. For example, the government has shelved the idea until at least next year. Let's move on to our next expression. Up to speed, which is normally used with to bring somebody up to speed or to be up to speed. If you bring someone up to speed with a subject or an activity, that person has all the latest information about it and is going to do it very well. For example, before our meeting, I'm gonna bring you up to speed about our latest development.
Yeah, but I wasn't listening, so could somebody bring me up to speed, please?
Please bring him up to speed on ship's personnel and supplies. Admiral?
I want you to meet with Pat Bennett this afternoon and bring her up to speed.
Fine.
Here is number 13. Somebody can whistle for it, which means to seek or expect in vain. If you're saying that somebody can whistle for a particular thing, it means that you're not willing or give that things to that person. When I asked for promotion, the CEO said I might as well whistle for it.
You can whistle for any more. I've had it.
To give the devil his due. This is our number 14. If someone or something generally considered bad or undeserving has any redeeming features, these should be acknowledged or given credit to. For instance, I don't like any of his views on education. However, I really want you to give the devil his due. He has always something important to say.
Oh, come on. Let's give the devil his due.
Time to give the devil his due.
Last but not least, to abandon yourself to something. To allow yourself to be completely controlled by a feeling or a way of living. For instance, he has totally abandoned himself to despair. Are you ready for this? Let's do it. The school budget is going to be cut again this year. We have no choice but accepting that. The ad says they're gonna teach you English in less than 3 months. Wishful thinking. He has dedicated his entire life to teaching. Okay, my lovely learners, that was all for today. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. And if you enjoyed and learned something new, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any other uploads. There's also a PDF available in the description below, which you could download and enjoy. I know I just gave you a lot of expressions and idioms, but do not be intimidated by them. Try to make your own examples and write them down below in the comments. I'm gonna check them and I will later let you know how you're doing. Thanks for watching and keep practicing. Look forward to seeing you in our next video.